Commanders OTAs are now in full swing, and today on the Commanders Report, I got 5 Commanders position battles this offseason that you, as a Commanders fan, should be keeping a close eye on as we approach training camp this year. Before we get into the content today, go ahead and click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we got daily Commanders offseason updates on this channel every single day. If they make a big move, we're going to be doing a big live show. If they trade for Trey Hendrickson, we'll be going live for that. If they make a different kind of trade, we will definitely go live for that as well. And then we got daily updates for you guys on this channel for you guys to enjoy. So if you're a Commanders fan, you bleed burgundy and gold, this is the channel for you. Please click that subscribe button if you want to join our family today. All right, so now the first position that I'm really excited to see the competition play out this year is outside cornerback alongside Marshawn Lattimore. Because even though it sounds like Mike Sainristil, who played on the outside last year, is going to be moving inside. He's still, I think, a part of the equation here. Like if Trey Amos isn't ready and then Jonathan Jones, they feel, is better suited to play the slot, it's not impossible that Sainristil will play, especially to start the season, on the outside. But I do think they would prefer Mikey to play in the slot because I think he could be an impact player from that spot where he's just kind of okay on the outside. But if you can make Trey Amos or Jonathan Jones a legitimate starter for you on week 1 opposite Marshawn Lattimore, I think that's definitely something that the Washington Commanders are going to want to do. And it's going to be interesting to see who establishes himself as the true number 2 corner and the starter in this group between Amos and Jones on the outside. My best guess is that Amos is going to be able to get that job done week 1. I had a first-round grade on Amos. I love his game. I love his footwork. I love his long speed. I love his press technique. I love his long arms. I love his physicality. I love his instincts and zone coverage. I just think that he's an awesome football player, man, and I'm really excited about his future, and I think that he's going to do a really good job during OTAs and and then minicamp and then training camp this year, where he's going to impress the coaches enough where they're going to feel comfortable putting him out there as a day 1 starter when this team plays the New York Football Giants at home to start the season. So predict it for me down there in the comment section. Will Trey Amos be a starter in week 1? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comment section. For me, I think he will be, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section for today's pinned question. YouTube's going to throw an ad break here in just a couple of seconds, and when that happens, take advantage of that time. But give me a yes or a no if Trey Amos will start week 1. Second position battle I'll be watching very closely here is Bandit Safety. Now, if you've been watching the show as of late, you guys probably know what that Bandit Safety is. In Dan Quinn's defensive structure, he likes to play with 3 safeties, and one of them is kind of like a linebacker safety hybrid. Right now, the 2 guys at the safety position that I believe are locked in at starting positions this year are Quan Martin and Will Harris. Now, those guys aren't exactly linebacker types, all right? Those guys are hovering around 200 pounds, and like you want to really have that Bandit Safety be like at least 210 pounds and an athletic freak. I don't know if that's how I would characterize either Quan Martin or Will Harris. So you take a look at some of the Bandit candidates. Last year, Percy Butler was the 3rd safety that would come in, and Jeremy Chin would play the Bandit as kind of that hybrid linebacker type of role when they went to their 3 safety packages. But there's some young players on this Commanders roster here that I think that they're going to consider as well. Tyler Owens out of Texas Tech last year, athletic freak of a guy at 210 pounds. Dominic Hampton is 220 pounds. He's like a true hybrid linebacker. And then Robert McDaniel out of Jackson State, is a Swiss Army knife that I could see the Commanders using in a bunch of different ways this season as well. Now, if I have my best guess as to who wins this job, I'm actually going to say Tyler Owens, because Will Harris, I feel like, is going to replace Percy Butler's kind of role as kind of that 3rd kind of smaller safety that plays, in those quarters and in those half kind of alignments. And then Tyler Owens is going to be playing that Jeremy Chin role, where at 210 pounds, he had a perfect 10 out of 10 relative athletic score coming out of Texas Tech last year. He's an absolute physical freak of nature. And the Commanders are hoping that the production or the development that he has had on the bench in his first season in the league is going to allow him to come in year 2 and really be an impact player for this team. I'm certainly rooting for him. And that would be my best guess at this point in time. Then we get to the tight end position. I don't know if I'd necessarily characterize this as a competition. Zach Ertz is going to start the season as the number 1 tight end. I think it's more of just a question about, how much more is Ben Sinnott the second-year player out of Kansas State, going to get in this group? Because you bring back Zach Ertz in free agency in a one-year deal. You signed John Bates to, I believe, a 3-year contract. All right, so, those were your top two guys last year. And, Sinnott definitely had trouble getting on the field last year. Now, I think going into year two, he's still, an athletic freak of a guy, really, really good athlete, really good route runner for his size. And, he's got some great athleticism, as you guys can see here with the leaping grab during phase 2 of the offseason program this year. But he's got some juice, man. So I'm really excited to see what kind of role and, kind of expansion of that role is going to look like for him this year. And I definitely think that he could be a contributor for this offense that was already really good last season. Then we get back to the defense here with third linebacker. Speaking of guys that are locked in as starters for this defense, Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner are definitely locked in as this team's off-ball linebackers. But the question is, who's going to be, coming in as that third kind of linebacker? Now, could certainly be that Bandit Safety. They might not really put in a true, third linebacker in this rotation. They kind of didn't do that last year. They kind of just told Jeremy Chin to fill in that role in those Bandit looks. But Jordan McGee is somebody that I think that they're really going to be relying on this year. Also, Kane Madrano and Dominic Hampton are kind of athletic type of linebacker types. And then Tyler Owens, even at 210 pounds, I think has got the physical tools to potentially play a third linebacker role if asked to do that. But Jordan McGee is really the guy that they're hoping is going to take that next step this year, and that's my guess. I think he earns the job. He's a really, really good and athletic pass coverage linebacker, and that's perfect for what they need because Bobby Wagner is not a really good pass defender at this point in his career. He's more of an early down, kind of run defending, blitzing type of linebacker. And then when it's on pass heavy downs and you need kind of a pass coverage type of linebacker out there, Jordan McGee is the guy that you can put out there in those situations. Second year guy at a Temple, really freak athlete. I mean, Adam Peters loves his freak athletes. And I definitely think you could see him get a bigger role with the Commanders this year. Then the final position battle I'll be looking out for here is third running back. Once again, you have two kind of locked-in starters at this position. Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Ekeler are once again going to be your running back pairing at the top of the depth chart. But then after that, there is a question as to who's going to assume those third running back duties. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the 7th-round pick out of Arizona, very explosive player. He's getting rave reviews from coaches early on in the offseason program for the Commanders. I could certainly see him winning this job. And then you got Jerry McNichols, who showed some good things last year as this team's number 3 running back. And Chris Rodriguez Jr. has shown flashes in his young NFL career as well. So I honestly really like, I would say this running back group doesn't have a true stud or star in it, but they got a lot of very solid pieces and they have good depth. So no matter what happens during the season, if God forbid somebody gets injured, they got the pieces in here to make it work. No matter the circumstance, in my opinion. But my guess, I think Krosky-Merritt's going to win the job. Man, I really like his tape from Arizona back in 2023. Didn't play all that much last year because of a eligibility dispute, which is a little bit of a red flag. But, the coaches at Commanders OTAs are raving about this kid, man. So really excited to see his explosive and aggressive running style, on full display during training camp and during the preseason games. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he impresses enough to win that number 3 running back job right out of the gate. That'll be it for today's edition of the Commanders Report by Chat Sports. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of today's program. And don't forget to click that subscribe button for in-depth, informative, and free Commanders content every single day.